I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the West Sacramento Commission of the Arts, Cultural, and Historic Preservation. Today is August 29th. And we are going to begin with a roll call. So, Katie, could you take roll for us?
Yes. Commissioner Archuleta.
Here.
Vice Chair Bell.
Here.
Commissioner Domke.
Here.
Commissioner Gleason.
Here.
Commissioner Perez.
Here.
And then Chair Korwitz is absent, as well as our alternate Volker. We have quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to begin this meeting with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the land on which we live, work, learn, and commune is the original homelands of the indigenous people of West Sacramento, who have stewarded this land throughout generations. We acknowledge and we thank the original inhabitants who have occupied, maintained, and secured this place, and who still exist on this land. We respect and celebrate the many diverse indigenous people still connected to this land on which we gather. Thank you. And now for a pledge of allegiance, Commissioner Perez, will you please lead us?
Pledge allegiance, flag, United States, to the republic, one nation, God, indivisible.
Thank you. Moving on to presentations from the public. Do we have any?
We do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item 1B, Commissioner Communications. I'd like to open it. Commissioners, do you have anything? Okay. Moving on to item 1C, distribution of the updated board and commission member handbook. Katie, is this something that you have?
Yeah, unfortunately, this will have to be moved to our next meeting. Our city clerk, Kuzmir, was going to present this item, and she's out sick today.
Do we need a motion for that?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to presentations, we have Girl Scout Troop 808 Utility Box Art Project Installation. Thank you. I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, there we are. Hello, good evening. Hello, my name is Kara Komisky. I'm a recreation coordinator over in Parks and Recreation. Some of my responsibilities there include maintenance of Gallery 1075, as well as the pleasure of updating our public art inventory. I'm very happy to present to you an update this evening on the Troop 808 Utility Art Project. I got to assist Recreation Manager Connie Leek throughout this project, whereas we both assisted Troop 808 as liaisons, researchers, occasional photographer, and graphic designer to make sure that this project was thought through successfully. But before I begin, I would also like to thank you for your own part in this project, whereas over the previous months, you have also watched the Troop 808 Girl Scouts present to the Commission and offered them feedback and encouragement to see this project through. I also want to offer another special thank you to Commissioner Cheryl Gleason, who extended her professional art knowledge and experience with art utility box projects to myself and Recreation Manager Connie Leek so that we could better assist Troop 808. One thing that really stands out throughout the entirety of this project, starting in November 2021, is the initiative of this Girl Scout troop. They, of their own initiative, reached out to Parks and Recreation Director Tracy Michael in November of 2021 with a letter stating that they would love to transform a boring utility box into something that showed their creativity, perseverance, and hard work, and that they would be happy to present in front of the Commission to explain more of their ideas, in which they did shortly after. The next meeting they were able to present at was in February of 2022, where they shared the ideas that they did have, their why, their plan, and also reached out to the commission asking for feedback on themes that they thought would lend to a successful public art utility box project. In this meeting, they also shared their initiative, the willingness to acquire their own art supplies, raise funds and acquire donations if needed, as well as use existing troop costs to cover existing other expenses if needed. With the assistance of Joshua Bailey, an engineer in our public works department within the city, 3 traffic control boxes were designated for Troop 808 to use. And those boxes, if you're not already familiar with them, and you will be more so shortly, are actually just the opposite, like kitty corner, practically, of City Hall on the corner of Merkley and West Capitol Avenue. And we'll get to a little bit more on that later. But yeah, so big thanks to Joshua Bailey on designating those control boxes. Now, the other quandary that came up post this meeting was there's 3 boxes. Paint all the boxes. What about vinyl art wraps, which are a bigger trending thing that's kind of coming up as well too. So there's a little bit of a quandary, and with offering my assistance as photographer and graphic designer to help lay out a vinyl wrap, the troop leader Sarah Kirby Gonzalez came to the decision to execute both styles of utility art boxes for the 3 traffic control boxes to be transformed. So shortly thereafter, I know how to click. The painting had to begin. So for the vinyl wrap idea to be executed, the girls started painting, and the idea was to create a collage representing the individual artworks of each troop member, but as a collective. So with that, each troop member created a canvas illustrating an aspect of the community that was important to them that they had also gotten feedback from the commission. Some of them did nature of West Sacramento, like the cabbage butterfly in the blue center with the flower, icons of West Sacramento, like our Tower Bridge and the River Cats, California poppies, also downtown Sacramento, and of course, our farmland and our neighborhood celebrities, the goats. So again, I assisted as their graphic designer and documented the canvases for them, and this part was then accomplished and put onto pending for next steps. Meanwhile, the center box, the largest traffic control box of the 3, was to be the hand-painted box. And that began with the initiative of their high school artist assisting them, Ellery Shaw, who came out in the middle of the summer on hot days between her summer job and being a teen, and put in a ton of hard work to hand paint the largest, like way bigger. This box is like 3 times bigger than the other boxes, to hand paint this box. Upon completion of her phase of the project, the Girl Scout members came out to add the finishing touches. So what we had merely months ago, and I'm happy to report changed as little as two and a half weeks ago, what started as our boring utility traffic control boxes is today a colorful art installation on behalf of Troop 808 Girl Scouts of West Sacramento. Yay. Just a little bit more on that, and then I'll let you go. The hand-painted box, those finishing touches were the Girl Scouts' individual signatures, as well as putting on a coat of graffiti resistance to protect the box over time. The vinyl wraps, as we mentioned before, are a different process. So they're actually commercially printed. And in that, I functioned as a liaison, their graphic designer, between the troop and Pro Wraps of Sacramento. So the troop, again, as we had spoken after the February Arts Commission meeting, like, do we do wraps or do we do painting? Let's do both. That was going to be covered with the troop's funds to initiate this commercial printing process. I had a delightful phone call with Christopher Burgess of Pro Raps Sacramento. He is a father of 2 Girl Scouts himself, and his wife is an assistant troop mother to their local Girl Scout. He was already moved by the perseverance, hard work, and creativity of this project and the familiarity of the hard work that all the Girl Scouts put into fundraising, that he generously donated the 2 vinyl wraps that you see to Troop 08 for their art project. And these ain't cheap. So it's a really generous donation. So thank you, Christopher Burgess of Pro Rap Sacramento. Now, the art may be finished, but there is a little bit more to come. There will be the updating of our public art inventory, but additionally, in the coming weeks, Recreation Manager Connie Leake will be inviting the Arts Commission to meet with Troop 808 at a ribbon cutting ceremony, where they're all together, we can celebrate their perseverance, hard work, and creativity. Thank you. And that is the update on Troop 808 Public Utility Art Project. I'm happy to receive any comments, or I will do my best to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. That was wonderful. Excellent progress and wonderful manifestation. Commissioners, do you have anything that you would like to discuss or questions?
I just want to say, Kira, thank you for assisting these girls using your art expertise and management. And I'm sure your charm gave way to the Burgess doing the donation for the girls. And that is just a way to work for the community and for the Girl Scouts. It's nice to hear these touching stories. And they did such a marvelous job, and I'm glad the goat is facing out.
Thank you, Commissioner Gleason. Thank you.
Commissioner Perez?
I just want to say this is extraordinary, and I think it's just absolutely awesome seeing the work that these young ladies are doing and you helping them. A question, can you get into what are pro wraps? Because I'm not that big in art. When I think of pro wraps, I think of something like maybe plasticky. Am I wrong, or how does?
You're super close. So you're thinking that plastic is a vinyl wrap, and actually what pro wraps does predominantly, they do things like car wraps. And things like that too. So utility art wraps are a little bit more of a newer thing. So you kind of have to reach out to folks and see who does it yet. And they were referred to me through, I believe, Commissioner Gleason. You helped me find them as a resource. And then I reached out to them to confirm and see if they were available to do an art wrap, because it is it's not the typical job that these installers are doing at this time, but they were game, and they were happy to take on the project.
And so the utility box that I'm looking at with the what do they call that flower?
Like a dandelion.
The dandelion. So is that a wrap?
That is completely hand painted, and its 2 neighbors are the vinyl wraps. So they're a plastic wrap adhered to the actual metal of the utility box itself.
That's amazing. And I just wanted to say, over the last couple of years, I think here in the Sacramento region, we've seen more paintings like in buildings in like the downtown area, right? Of the big one. What is it on J and 16th of the, what is it? Is it Johnny Cash, the big one?
Oh, yeah. The Shepherd Ferry one?
I think so. And for example, I do hip hop choreography myself, and I try looking for art around Sacramento.
Yeah.
And now that I am, especially being on this commission, art pops out to me more, right? And so now that I see this, I think it's not only awesome that we're doing art, but it's coming from our youth. And look, I know some of us have been on like nonprofits. We know how difficult it is to raise funds. The fact that they're doing that, and then how long did it take them to paint this?
So the actual people hours that were put into painting the box itself, I am unsure. I will reach out to Ellery Shull and ask her for a estimated quote. She, with chaperoning of Sarah Kirby Dallas, the troop leader, and her mom, came out on their own time, and I stopped by and said hello when I could. But I would So I don't want to guesstimate wrong, but I will get back to you. I'll reach out to the Schulls and get back to you on that.
And just last question, I'm just curious because I'm really amazed with them. Does this group have like a type of social media? So maybe if the community wants to like know more about them, maybe they're still fundraising to do some other projects to where, because community, we want to get behind our youth, right? And we want them to, continue doing great things. And I think it's great to get that information out there. I don't know if they have any type of social media or anything like that. Do you know?
At this time, I don't think the troop 808 has a social media presence, but I could be wrong. So let me follow up with your troop leader on that and get back to you on that one as well, too.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Anything else?
Commissioner Domke?
Your enthusiasm is contagious.
Oh, cool.
And wonderful. And I bet all of those young women had a wonderful time working on this. Thank you for that. It's inspiring to have public art come from the work of the public and the creativity of the public. So thanks for that as well. While the Girl Scout troop may be too young to have social media pages, I'm wondering about the Parks and Rec playbook and because these graphics are really delightful and they're very clever and people will smile. Right? I'm wondering about the Parks and Rec playbook, and I'm wondering about some of the cities' platforms to talk. It's a great introduction to public. And we have so many pieces. This is a great introduction to bring people attention.
Well, thank you for that. Actually, I also get the responsibility of graphic designing the playbook.
Well,
so
hey.
I will bring that up to my managers. Thank you so much also for just all that positive feedback. Thank you so much. It's just a lot of great stuff to think about and inquire about.
Yeah.
Commissioner Archuleta?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for a wonderful presentation and the artwork. I love the colors and the way it blends in the area that you have them set at. Background, everything. They did a wonderful job. Make sure you let them know that I said.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, one other thing. You said that the middle one had a code of anti-graffiti?
Yes.
And that is to help it to wear better and to prevent any from vandalism?
So it won't necessarily prevent the vandalism. Generally, public art has a very rare chance of getting, it can happen. I've seen it happen, but it's very rare that public art like murals gets defaced, typically out of just like artist to artist respect. But the graffiti resistant coating makes it easier to clean off. Okay. So, it happens. We'll hopefully have a much easier time removing it if that were to happen.
Call back the artist to a little bit of touch up on it.
Yeah, but hopefully we can just wash that off and be like, Ellery, it's all good.
And how does the wrap wear? They wear pretty good too?
So for my research, and it looks like the wraps can hold up for a handful of years. And from what I've also read from other city projects is they tend to maybe decommission the wraps like after like 5 years is when they may decommission them but that it could be more so related to wear and tear on the box so it's a matter of kind of like how it holds up, but untampered with, they can hold up for years. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I really did my best to answer your questions, but if there's anything else, please feel free to email me and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey. Moving on to our consent agenda, considering the approval of the minutes for June 27th regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve and a second from Domke and Perez. Moving on.
Oh. Can I get all those in favor?
Oh, all of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And now to our regular agenda item, update on the draft request for proposals for the Southport Levee Trailhead Public Art Project.
Good evening, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Erin Rivas, and I'm the Parks and Recreation Business Manager. I'm here this evening to present you with an update on the draft request for proposals for the Southport Levee Trailhead Public Art Project. Back in February, I presented the Commission with an update on the art element associated with the trailhead. As you know, per the city's public art policy, 1% of city and facility projects are required to contribute a public art fee payment or include a public art element valued at least 1% of the project budget. This project has roughly a $1.1 million construction budget, resulting in an $11,000 public art budget. Due to the fact that this is the city's first formal trailhead along the Southport Levee Trail, staff has considered increasing the public art budget to $20,000. At the February meeting, the draft public art plan was shared, including recommendations for the public art projects for the site, preferred locations for the art, ideas for theming, and educational opportunities were identified. The Commission was very supportive of the proposed art elements and themes and offered other ideas for theming such as climate change, Mother Earth, and nature. The Commission also supported the inclusion of recycled art from a recently decommissioned art piece along the Sacramento River to expand the public art budget and scope for this project. Since the last meeting, staff has been working with Allison Flory from Yellow Arts on a draft request for proposals for the Southport Levee Trailhead Art Project, a copy of which is attached to your agenda report. So the draft RFP will be open to artists in the immediate region, which are basically counties adjacent to Yolo County. Envision art components are things like murals or mosaics that can be incorporated into the restroom or nearby walkways, standalone art sculptures, ironwork that can be incorporated into the seating or shade structures. The artwork selected for the project will do the following themes. It will draw inspiration from the Sacramento River and its riparian habitat, reflect the trailhead's purpose to provide safe public access to recreation along the Sacramento River, inspire outdoor recreation opportunities and education for all ages and abilities, promote stewardship of our natural resources and environment, and consider the design and architecture of the site. All submissions will be reviewed by the selection committee, which will be composed of 2 members of the Art Commission, 2 city staff, and a resident of the community. At least one of the city staff members will be required to have a background in construction, and the selection process will be facilitated by Yolo Arts. All applications will be due October 14th, 2022 by 5 p.m. So the plan is to basically do an artist contract award in November. The artist design and fabrication will occur between November 2022 and March 2023, with the art installation roughly in June of 2023. Staff is seeking commission endorsement for the draft request for proposals for the Southport Levee Trailhead project. And this concludes my update. I am free for questions. And thank you.
Thank you so much for that report. I'm going to open it up for discussion. Any commissioners have any comments or questions about this plan and our endorsement or not endorsing?
And we have someone from Yellow Arts here tonight, yes? No. Okay.
But I think I can come back with responses later. I can hopefully answer the questions myself.
Not important. I was just curious.
Did we not talk about seeing if we could get a grant tied to this? I remember talking about if there were other grants possible in this to add funds to enhance the 1%.
I believe the grant, this Habitat Conservation Fund, is that will be paying for the art piece.
We have a combination of funds that are paying for the project costs. So we are using grant funding. The costs have come in over budget. So we also have additional funding contributing to the project that is contributing to the art as well. So we have increased the art budget. It is greater than 1%. And the pool of funding we have includes grant and Measure E and Park Impact Fee funds collectively.
Thank you.
It's a $20,000 budget. What if you hit 17,000 and you go under budget? What happens with that remaining 3, or do you have to hit the 20,000?
I think we have to hit that amount, don't we?
We have to hit that. We're required to spend 1%. So if we hit 17, we don't use the full 20. That means we have $3,000 that can be applied to other portions of the project. None of this money's coming. Well, the 11,000 would either be dedicated to the public art fund, the required 1%, or it's spent on site. So our goal is hopefully we'll get to the 20,000 because I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And the likelihood is we'll probably go over that with the artists, and there could even be multiple artists selected for different pieces. But we would certainly look for ways that we can try to use that full 20.
And then the
We'll just have to
recycled
see.
elements will increase hopefully our budget and scope, and maybe they'll get really creative, we'll get a couple. I mean, I just don't know.
Commissioner Domke?
I'm wondering, this project, and yay, right? I mean, that, it really is going to be a landmark project there. It's the first, that's a beautiful area. Lots of folks don't even know that it's there. Partially, they don't know that it's there because they have to take their lives in their hands getting from across Village Parkway on Linden in that section where there is absolutely no bike, pedestrian. That it's a big enough space, but it would fill up quickly with cars. So I'm wondering if there's any coordination with some of the infrastructure funding that's coming through to maybe widen that, just that one, you know what I'm talking about, where it is. Yeah.
Yes, so we actually have a few things happening around the trailhead site. The first is that we have received grant funding and are already underway on planning and designing paving the top of the trail, which the 5.6 miles of that entire stretch of trail,
Wow.
which also identifies other off-site opportunities to serve as additional trailheads. We have some natural surplus parcels or cul-de-sacs that dead end into the trail that can lend themselves to more formal, smaller, but still trailhead type of access points. And then also as part of the adjacent developments occurring around that site, we have secured easements that will connect Lake Washington, a trail along Lake Washington across Village Parkway that will actually take you to the trailhead, not on Linden, but on the north side of the trailhead. So
Near
you avoid
Rivas?
Linden altogether if you're on foot or on bike. And then if you're driving, obviously you can take Linden Road there. We do not have any improvements planned right now for Linden Road proper. But that will happen in the future at some point. Village Parkway is already being expanded right now to the north of the trailhead site, and we'll have a bike ped path.
And in that neighborhood, which is kind of my second question, Aaron, in that neighborhood, we heard a presentation and there have been conversations about grant for that Heritage Oak area. And we talked about, a public art piece there that might tie in with the natural beauty of that area, but also the indigenous peoples that have for centuries that was there. And so as we bring this to bid, has there been any conversation that they're so close together, really? Has there been any conversation about a continuity of theme in that area? Maybe not the exact same theme, but,
I think we generally have discussed the idea of theming the whole riverfront. We have the full stretch of trail, and then there's the dedicated trailheads, and then the Heritage Oak site. So there's definitely been talking about some branding or some theming for the whole
is
riverfront.
that something that you would bring back to this commission and to the
Definitely.
Parks Commission? Carol, does that?
Yeah, because I think I live just down off of Linden, and I walk that way and there is the sidewalk stops, and you literally are taking your life in your own hands once you get to the field.
And if you have a dog the size of a goat, it's even more dangerous.
Yes.
I just want to say that.
Yeah. And so definitely, I agree with you in your comments on that, having almost gotten hit there myself. But I think continuity and also things that often get maybe not forgotten about, but less emphasis on is artistic signage for these locations where one leads into another. And that could then really be all lead into the Riverwalk and everything else that we're trying to sort of connect here from almost Clarksburg down to downtown, because that is signage is key to getting people to come visit these great spots that we are doing amazing things for.
Huge wayfinding potential. And we've also been working hand in hand with the consultant that's doing working on the design for the trail. So, having them sort of, share thoughts and ideas, even potentially using some of the same recycled materials. So like the metal fish, go meet me at the salmon, go meet me at the egret. I mean, there's some big potential for really creating some wayfinding, along the riverfront.
And then if you go down along that front, because this commission, right, art, culture, and historic preservation, there are some ruins. If you go up onto the levee and then hang a right and go down by the yacht club, and then keep going up on that levee, there are some. I have no idea what they are, but they are cool, and it might be neat if there were a sign that explained what you're looking at. It's really tempting to go climb around on them.
The BMX course? No? Sounds like the BMX course.
No, I'm not, I'll have to confirm where you're talking about, but
It's in between, so if you were to go down Linden, get on the trail, go down towards
towards Bees Lakes.
Towards the yacht club. Before you get to the, I don't know what that little road is that kind of goes down.
Chicory Loop.
It is part of that
Chicory Loop.
Yeah. So it's before that.
And it's in a kind of a culvert. I mean, especially now with the setback levies. Another thing that might be really interesting, it's kind of beautiful in the spring. And it would be great to have a sign that said what this was, and it'll come back to me.
Can you show us where it is? Because I'm confused and I'm intrigued now.
I think I may know, but I think we may need to circle back with our
You
flood
need to put your
folks.
tennis shoes on and go up on the levee and go down. Yeah.
It's not accessible.
I just had a quick thought regarding what you were talking about and doing landmarks, and I think using social media to promote these things and maybe having signage for these locations and where you can get more history or history about the art or families writing stories about their history on the riverbanks or something that could that opens a door into another door, and it's not just a stagnant piece, but something that we could always add on through media, social media, or interactive stuff.
One of the things we could also consider things like QR codes. And like along the trail, we can't penetrate the levee, so we use things that are like QR codes.
Sometimes, doing a lovely art signage may not be so feasible, but if we could do just a few, do a hashtag that will lead them to a site that will give them information about this particular site, and it could be, arts, cultural, historic preservation information.
And I remembered the other piece of it is if you're up on that levee and you go down and look back north, there are a couple places where you can clearly see what the engineering intention was. It was, and we've been talking about levees and setback levees, and have had great success, but it is an educational opportunity and really fascinating when you come to the point where it all kind of comes up to the top, and you can see where the water is supposed to go. You can see why that levee is out in the middle of nowhere, and you've driven by it a million times and never understood why. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. I know it's $20,000 is not a lot, but there could be a bigger impact. I'm sorry?
QR codes aren't that expensive, though. I think we can really, with what we've got, we can do big things.
Yeah, and if we use social media oh, there it is.
Oh, thank you. All right, could somebody explain this to me?
Yeah.
What are you explaining?
We have, could you put it on that screen?
Oh.
Can't move
So
it.
Cheryl, it's just to the left, right, by the yacht club?
Oh, the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the location
Can't
on our
see it.
screen.
I think it's
I
just
just pulled up a
past
map to try to
where we
look
can
at
Oh,
see.
there we go. Okay.
I think it's a little further
We're trying
down.
to figure out where this is.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Where
trailhead?
exactly this
Oh, it's at the end of
where
Linden.
this is.
Yeah, it's at the end of Linden Road.
It's at the end of Linden Road. No,
Okay.
so Cheryl and I were
Chicory?
looking for the ruin things.
Yeah.
Okay, Linden
Where's
Road, I
Gregory?
see.
Yeah, see Linden Road right?
Okay,
The
so it's
south
that
side.
spot.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll have all the access, I know we don't have sidewalks, but we'll have, 27 spaces by the plaza. We'll have the equestrian staging area, which will be available for overflow parking as
And a
well.
bathroom.
And a single bathroom.
No, it's two. I
Oh,
think
it's
we're upping
two.
it to 2 stalls. Mhm.
Okay, one on each side. Got
Yes.
it.
Because it is getting more and more use.
Well, and they're talking about doing, what's it called, the disc golf?
We have a proposal for disc golf in that area that would utilize the trailhead as a main access point. And I'm going to jump ahead to some items I was going to share on the director's report. I'll just might as well do it now because it's part of this discussion. But we did receive $3 million in grant funding for Heritage Oaks Park, so we will be moving forward. That does include actually, the grant funding we receive for that is through the Land and Water Conservation Fund, and public art is not eligible for that grant funding, but that grant does allow us to move forward with the project, and we still have the 1% requirement for whatever the total construction costs wind up being. So for that, and then we have the Southport Levee Recreation Trail project, which is in the planning and design stages. We will be in front of you, hopefully at your next meeting, with the concept that does include some public art elements designed, and we have $1.8 million we received in federal funding to move forward with paving the trail. We also received $2.7 million in grant funding for Bees Lakes to create the initial phase of public access improvements, which includes an overlook for the largest lake. It does include interpretive signage. We receive federal funding, which has already triggered a Section 106 tribal consultation. So we are engaging with the tribes, although we have already reached out to Yochidehe about being an active participant in developing theming. And I feel like where we're at right now is we almost need like a Washington art plan for that part of the community to really build off of theming and landmarks and capturing people when they're out connecting with nature. So it might be a really good opportunity for us to look at use of some of the public art fund money coupled with other money, maybe come up with a plan that makes sure that we're maximizing opportunity and building something bigger than just multiple individual art elements, which are good too, but there is an opportunity here, absolutely.
That's a lot of funding you've gotten, and congratulations. And I'm super excited to see what's going to happen. And with this additional funding, it does open up new opportunities to envision the theming and the planning. And my thought is I would like something that like a domino effect of as you travel down the trail of interesting information and curiosity and of course a constant theme, I think would be really, really ideal. So I don't know how that's going to affect this particular location and if we wanted to do grand theming. Any thoughts on that?
Well, for this particular project, we're up against a very tight grant deadline. So the public art element is part of the grant. We have to get this project completed by March of 2024.
24, 25.
Yeah.
I think, yes.
December, actually December of 2023. So that, yeah, so we have a really, really tight timeline. So we have to move forward with some element of public art for this project at this time. But that doesn't preclude us from including the site for a future art installation that's part of something bigger. We certainly will, have the space, and we have, as Erin mentioned, we do have art from the communication tower coming down that can be repurposed, not all at once. So there's an opportunity to store it and see if we can repurpose that in a meaningful way, in a different, more creative way, or if there are just some other opportunities we want to pursue. But I definitely appreciate your feedback, because I think there is definitely an opportunity to do some planning here that gets us something bigger.
Indeed. Was there any other discussion on this endorsement before we move to a motion? I also feel like because we are kind of under a time crunch and, this is sort of a smaller little bite of the pie that, maybe these artists are going to give us that great theme idea through this. So,
Well, and even if we don't theme it, I just, in this section, this particular section, there is a lot of history there. And just putting that out there, that there's a lot of history that's happened down by the yacht.
I'm sure we can build off of that. You might even ask some of the artists that might project, as you're building off that, what they might present as
Right, yeah, no,
another art project.
And not trying to drive a theme, just commenting that I always feel like that on this commission, public art is exciting, history is important, and it would be good if we just kept that in mind.
And I think we'll have a couple other projects that are becoming online, like the West Acre Park. We're in design on that, so at some point you'll have an art project to think about and talk about.
do we have a motion to move this item for endorsement from anyone?
I so move.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gleason.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Domke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
And even though we got a spoiler earlier, we're moving on to item 5, Director's Report.
What she said. No, I do have one other item to share. We had received funding for West Acre Park for the expansion and renovation, almost $8 million in grant funding. I'm happy to report that council recently approved the contract for design work for that project. As part of the grant application, we had a very robust community engagement effort that resulted in a concept level plan, but now we need to work to refine that plan. And we do need additional community input related to public art and theming, and also the skate park and pump track all-wheel elements. And so that community engagement effort will be kicking off in October. We don't have specific dates yet, but we will certainly utilize your next commission meeting to capture input from you and share more information about that design process. So really exciting. And then we did just wrap up our summer concert series, Rhythm on the River. It was so exciting to see each concert grow. We really lucked out with weather this year, and we had great weather for all of the concerts, and we'll be collecting information and using that to inform next summer's concert series. I think everything else we already discussed. So that concludes my director's report.
Thank you. Yes, I attended the summer concert series. It was super fun. Did any of the other commissioners make it? Oh, you missed out, you guys.
The work thing got in the way.
I think the city really enjoyed it, and it was great. So good job on that. Well, with that, we are at the end of our meeting. And would anybody like to make a motion for us to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner Gleason. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Archuleta. And all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And meeting is over. Thank you.